Okay, let me get rid of this little thing here so I can see. And of course, it doesn't respond to my touch. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. Just does not respond to my touch. Wait a minute, maybe we'll do it with this. And that does it. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take your.
Sorry, folks, getting this a little more organized here. Okay, so welcome to Thera-Fitness. I know we have some new people here. I actually have a family member joining us from Florida. Hi, Cousin Bob. Although hopefully everybody is muted. I'm the only one that gets to talk today. Anyway, it's very cold here in North Carolina. I hope you are all staying safe and warm. And if there is snow outside and you're one of the people that has to shovel, please make sure that you are dressed for it and that you know how to do it safely. And probably the best way to get shoveling done safely is to have somebody else do it. So that's my recommendation. So you know that Thera-Fitness, everything we do is going to involve you learning your ABCs. And the ABCs, I'm hoping you know them by now, are alignment, which has to do with your posture, breathing, and we mean by breathing, conscious breathing, because breathing is something we do automatically. We don't think about it. But I'd like you to become conscious of your breathing. And by doing that, you can do things that will actually make your breathing more beneficial for you. For example, by learning to do slow, prolonged exhalations, you're actually clearing your lungs of stale air. And by doing that, you're now making room for more oxygenated air. Going back to the alignment, the posture, obviously, the better you are able to sit up or stand up tall and straight, the more your rib cage can expand, and your lungs are under the rib cage, so that means that they've got more room to expand and take in oxygen when you do breathe in. So alignment, good posture, lengthen open is what I usually suggest. Breathing slow in through the nose, and a slow prolonged breath through pursed lips or a hissing sound. So I'm going to drop my mask for a minute. It would be something like, or just as if you were slowly trying to blow a candle out. Or a nice strategy I used to use was holding a tissue or a feather in front of somebody's face and just letting them see how long they could keep that tissue floating in the air. So it's not how hard and fast you can exhale, but how slow and steady. And the other thing besides doing pursed lip is to make like a hissing sound, something like that. A nice image to go with that is leaky tire. Because if you think of a pinhole in a tire, you know how slowly and steadily that air is going to come out. So you've aligned, let your shoulders drop down and back, you've lengthened your spine, you've become conscious of your breathing, you're breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, you're doing it very, very slowly through pursed lips or with a hissing sound, but you're keeping that nice tall posture. Now, centering, that's the C of the ABCs. That simply means being, or the way I use it, is that your mind is focused on what your body is doing at the time you're doing something. So how often have any of us had falls or injuries or done something really, I can say in my case, stupid, because your mind was one place thinking about something else, but your body was doing something else. So centering just suggests and tells you that when you are doing something, no matter how minor it might be, that you simply focus on that one thing at a time, finish it, then go on to your next thing and focus on that. So there's your alignment, your breathing with the slow, prolonged exhalations, and your centering, which is just your mind and your body working together. As we do movements, I'm probably also going to talk about centering in another way, but the most important one is the one where mind and body are working together. So the first exercise to help us really get good alignment is one that's going to focus on your pelvis. And you will notice if you start just flexing your pelvis forward and back, that it affects your whole spine. All right. And part of what we need to do in order to achieve good alignment is make sure that our spine has the flexibility that it needs and the range of motion that it needs. A lot of people, because they've sat a long time in their work or whatever, or they've never developed good postural habits, they may actually have a flattened or rounded spine. In order to have good alignment, you want to be able to have the normal arch in the small of your back, as well as a normal arch up here. If you're getting a rounding in the upper part of the back, what we call the thoracic area, then you are, first of all, potentially restricting your breathing. But for those of us with any degree of osteoporosis, it's also putting us at risk for fractures where the vertebrae are most vulnerable. So let's align, breathe. And now I want you to become aware of your pelvis. I'm just putting my hand on mine so you can see. An image that's often useful for the pelvis is thinking of a bucket. So the first move we want to do, and you should, ideally, you're sitting at the edge of a straight back chair at this point, not in a recliner. And you're just going to tip the pelvis forward. So I hope you saw that. You tip the bucket forward. I want you to notice that I'm not bending knee forward. I'm keeping knee straight. I'm tipping the pelvis forward. And you should notice an increased arch in your back. So I'm going to ask you to repeat that a few times. Go just back to your center, your starting position, and do the forward pelvic rock. What I want to explain to you as you're doing this is that for some of you, this could cause a certain amount of discomfort. You may be stiff in that area. Most people, or many people, I would say, find that if after they've repeated this pelvic movement with the arch in the back, very often they find the stiffness getting better. If anything we do in this class causes you more discomfort, and you need to know the difference between something being, oh, this is a stretch, I haven't done this before. Knowing the difference between that and pain is very important, because I don't want you doing anything that could be a source of pain. All right, you know your body, listen to it. So we've just done the pelvic rock a few times. I'm not going to do the backward rock. I'm just going to work on the forward one. Okay? So now the next exercise we want to do, assuming that we've gotten our back a little bit straighter, we've gotten a little more of that arch that we want. Now we've got to get our head back on our shoulders. For many of us, or you, who've been sitting at desks, doing a lot of reading, doing a lot of work, and your body has been rounded forward, chances are your head has been thrust forward too. So obviously, this is not great posture. So I go back to my alignment, making sure I've got that nice arch in my back. Notice also shoulders, when you align well, notice that your shoulders kind of drop down and back. And that's what you want. You really, if you find yourself tensing or holding your shoulders up around your neck, just think of that lengthening and that letting go. That's the image I'm going to keep repeating to help you achieve this better postural alignment. So now let's get the head back on the shoulders. I want you to just, and I'm sorry, you're going to have to watch this with the mask on. I want you to just think of pressing your face forward. So you keep your body straight, but you think about just pressing your face forward. Now, this is not the position where we're eventually going to want your head in. Now I want you to think of just pulling that head or that face back on your trunk. This is your trunk. And you might also think of the back of your head, the very back of your head, being pulled up towards the ceiling. What you'll notice is that, or what you should be, what you want to be feeling, is that lengthening of your spine. So if you will have, or tend to have, this kind of posture, notice how much of a curve there is in my neck, back of my head, right? This obviously does not lengthen me, and it can actually be a source of problems with pinched nerves and headaches and things like that, because this position can potentially compress blood vessels, nerves, and things like that. So here we go. You've got that nice aligned posture. Shoulders are down and back. You've had your head forward. You're slowly going to let it ride back on your trunk, and imagine the back of your head being pulled towards the ceiling. And then just relax it. Press your face as if you were pressing your face towards your image in a mirror. So you're not bending forward, you're staying, your trunk is staying straight, it's just the head pushing forward and then retracting back. You may have heard this called chin tucks. And depending on how many chins you have, it could be chins tuck, it depends. But you get the picture. So this is also called a turtle exercise. So the turtle sticks his head out of the shell, or her head out of the shell, and then we're going to retract it back, chin tuck, back of the head lifts, and relax. We're going to do one more thing since I'm sitting in this position. We're going to just build on the exercise we just did. And the reason is that one of the things we want to do to stay fit as we age is to keep the trunk strong. So we've just done an exercise that helps to give you the flexibility, some of the flexibility that you need in your spine, some of the flexibility you need in the upper spine, the neck region. But now let's see if we can strengthen some of those muscles that support this better posture. So you're sitting on the edge of your chair, feet are flat on the floor, and we're going to align, breathe center. We're going to lengthen, open, and do that same chin tuck with the back of the head lifting at the same time that you are pressing your feet into the ground as if you were trying to push through wet cement. And see if you can keep that pressure, keeping that nice lengthened posture, chin tuck. And if you're like me, you're going to be feeling this through your thighs, your buttock, through the stomach and back muscles, right up to the top of your head. You'll also notice that the fact that I'm speaking means that I'm breathing. So make sure that you are not holding your breath as you do this. And then just slowly release. Now, this is something, as all the Thera-Fitness exercises are. These are things you can be doing throughout the day. Don't feel that, oh, how many times a day should I do this? Whenever it comes to your mind and you're sitting, do it. It can also be done in standing. And what you are doing is a conditioning exercise throughout the day. You're not just limiting it to short periods of exercise. So let's do that one more time. Sitting at the edge of the chair, align, just lengthen open, those shoulders drop back, chin tucks, you're looking straight ahead, and you start thinking of having the back of your head push towards the ceiling at the same time that your feet are trying to press through the floor. Don't remember to keep that nice breathing pattern, or talk to someone, or go la la la. If you're making a sound, if you're counting, if you're singing, you're breathing. So if you're not speaking or making a sound, make sure you're breathing. And everybody's ability to hold this, what is actually an isometric contraction, is going to be different for everyone. What you want to do is try to build up how long you can maintain that pressure down and the pressure up. And when you've gone about as far as you can, you just release softly. Okay? I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I hope none of you is doing sit-ups or crunches to try to strengthen your abdominals. It's actually dangerous for those of us with any degree of osteoporosis. So what we just did is actually a very good exercise for conditioning, not only the abdominals, but all the core muscles. So we've gotten the head back on the neck. Let's do some more head and neck range of motion exercise. So we align, shoulders drop down and back, lengthen. Take your right hand. Now I do mirror image, so don't be confused. Right hand up to the top of your head. Right, and you've done your posture and your breathing. Slowly, just let your head tip as far as it can go. Now, it may not go very far. Quite honestly, I had a diving accident when I was 18. I'm very lucky to be here and moving. I do not have a lot of flexibility in my neck. So you just go as far as you can comfortably. Take a breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, just see if the head will tip a little bit more. Again, your body is staying straight up and down. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, see if you can go a little further. One more time, breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Now, when you're doing this on your own, you may find you want to take another couple of breaths. That's fine. I find that 3 to 5 breaths, and I've gone as far as I can go. So we're just doing 3. Hand releases, head returns to its nice centered position. Okay, so align, shoulders down and back, breathe. Your left hand up over your head. Let it tip as far as it can, comfortably and safely. And again, it may not go very far. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, see if it'll go a little further. Breath in. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. I'm not going very far, I can see that. One more time, breath in. And see if you can go a little bit further. Release your left hand. Slowly return to the center. Okay, we're going to do a combination of spine and head and neck. So now I'd like you to reach with your right hand behind your chair. Of course, you're maintaining that good postural alignment. That chest should be lifted and expanded. Shoulders are down and back. Your left hand moves around to your right knee. And keeping that tall posture, you may want to think of tipping your pelvis forward. That'll help you get that nice arch in your back. Turn only as far as you can comfortably. Take a breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, staying very tall with those shoulders down and back, see if you can turn a little further. There's a lot to concentrate on here. You want to be keeping that tall postural alignment. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. And one more time in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. And I'm going to ask you to stay here for a moment. While you're turned this way, let your eyes look to your right. Just gaze to your right for a moment. Turn your eyes straight ahead. And turn your eyes to your left. Gaze to your left, but your head stays turned to the right. Turn your eyes to the front of your face. Release with your left hand. Release with your right hand. And we return to center. Let's do a quick pelvic tilt. Align, breathe, center. Tip the pelvis forward and release. So now we'll go to the other side. Your left hand behind you. Right hand on your left knee. Nice. Lifted chest, arched back, shoulders down and back, chin is tucked. Turn towards your left, only as far as you can, comfortably and safely. There were no awards here for hurting yourself. And a breath in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. In through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. You may or may not. Most important is that you're keeping that nice erect posture. One more time. In through the nose. And exhale slowly. See if you can turn a little further. Stay here. Let your eyes gaze to your left. Turn them to the front of you. Let your eyes gaze to your right. Keeping your head turned to the left. You turn your eyes to the front. Release with your right hand. Release with your left hand. Take a nice breath in. And exhale. All right. Let's do a forward bend. So this is going to be your starting position. You want your legs as wide apart as you can get them comfortably. Also, you want to make sure that your knees do not go further out than your toes. So when you look over your knee, you don't want to see your toes sticking in or out. You want to see them right in line with the knee. I'm going to give you profile now. And again, you're at the edge of the chair. Align. Breathe. Center and slow motion, keeping that back arched. Slowly just go down as far as you can, comfortably and safely. I want you to notice the position of the spine though. And you can look up briefly to see that my head is not looking up. It's staying in line with the rest of my spine. So we do our yoga stretch technique here, breathing in through the nose. As we exhale, try to release down a little further. Please don't force yourself. And if you have any surgeries or conditions where this is not advisable, please don't do it. Please, you have to know your medical and physical condition so that you can monitor how you participate in this program or any other. We're going to breathe in through the nose again. As you exhale, keeping that back straight, see if you can drop a little further. And one more time in through the nose. And as you exhale, you can get that chest and belly a little closer to the ground. Right, slow motion, curl that pelvis under and bring yourself up to a nice straight sitting position. Okay, you can do a little pelvic tilt, forward tilt, back to neutral. Okay. We haven't done any arms and shoulders, so let's do that. Okay, so I align. I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but my hope is that eventually doing your ABCs before you do any activity is going to come second nature to you. I've mentioned before that in my everyday life, it's always there. You know, if I'm going to do something and maybe I'm on the verge of being distracted, I just say ABC to myself. I don't even have to say the whole thing, and my body will mentally relax and focus, and my body will get physically prepared to do whatever activity I'm going to do. So let's just hands up like you're going to push the wall away. So align, breathe, center, shoulders are down and back, and just press those arms straight forward as if you're trying to push a wall that's right in front of you. So really keeping yourself tall, right? And keeping that breathing, just try to press forward. Really do it for a few seconds, really trying to push, right? This is where your imagination plays a big part, because if you imagine yourself really pushing against a major force, you're going to be using more muscle strength, and this is actually a way to strengthen muscles. All right, I'm going to turn around again. Let's pull back. So just release, pinch those shoulders back. So your elbows may be up at around, maybe not quite shoulder height, but get the shoulders up, pinch those shoulder blades back. And just pull and really hold it. You'll notice at the same time, we're keeping that posture nice and tall and straight. All right, let's have you push forward again. Push that wall, but you're keeping that nice straight posture. Really push, really push. You really want to move that wall. I can't say it, but you know what I mean. You really want to push that wall. Okay. And slowly pull back. Pinch those shoulder blades. Staying tall, always, always pushing yourself taller, chin is tucked. Okay, I'm going to turn around again. And this time you can put your left hand down, right hand. We're going straight up to the ceiling. You're going to think about pushing your fingertips right through the ceiling. So again, you need to imagine yourself reaching beyond what you can grasp. There's actually a saying that says that your reach should always be further than your grasp, or what is heaven for. So let's just reach for heaven. Okay, nice lengthened spine. And slowly let your body tip towards your left. That's it. Now again, you don't want to be compressing your spine. You're still lengthening, always thinking of lengthening. Take a breath in. As you exhale, see if you can reach up to the ceiling a little higher. One more time in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can reach a little higher. And you may find, like I'm finding, that you're feeling more weight on your left hip. So becoming a little bit aware of weight shifting. Return to the center and release that right arm down. You can do a couple of shoulder rolls. I don't care which way you go, but after you've done about 3 or 4, keeping that nice lengthened posture, talking to you, Uncle Bob, Cousin Bob, round those shoulders. Okay. Now your left hand, ABC, left hand up to the ceiling. Really imagine yourself trying to poke a hole right through the tiles or whatever you have on your ceiling. Right, reach towards your right. Yeah, your right. Staying tall, so you're lengthening, you're really trying to put your fingertips right against the ceiling. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Lengthening, the whole time lengthening, breathing in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Good. Well, and again, now you should be feeling your weight on your right hip. And return to the center. Release. Let's do a few shoulder rolls. 4 times one way. And 4 times the other way. Okay, since I mentioned balance, we're going to do something else in sitting, but it's actually something that I learned in a course, a Tai Chi course actually, that was focused on balance. And part of what we need to do as far as improving our balance is develop an increased awareness of our body weight and the body weight shifting from one side to the other. When we're walking, that's what has to happen. The weight has to shift to one side so that the other side is free to take a step. So this is a very basic beginning. All right, we align, we breathe, those shoulders drop down and back, we tuck the chin. All right, let's pretend we've got a ball. We're going to lift the ball up. You're going to turn the ball up over your right shoulder. You're going to turn the ball over that right shoulder, only as far as you can go. Now you know the routine for stretching. And through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. In through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. I think we're going to stay here, but now what I'd like you to try to do while you're holding this ball up is see if you can free your left leg and reach it out to the side. Again, I need you to be safe, need you to be moving slowly, need you to be only going as far as you can, safely, comfortably. Now, in slow motion, I want you to think of picking that left leg up again, turning it to the center, bringing that ball around, bring the ball around. That's it, rotate the arms. And you know what, before we put the ball down, let's stretch the ball up to the ceiling and just go hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. Nice stretch. And down. All right, if your shoulders are still okay, we're going to take the ball and we're going to turn it up and over your left shoulder. After you've gone as far as you can, breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can turn a little further, keeping that ball up and through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can turn the ball a little further. And let's stay here and see if you can do what you have to do. Shift your weight and see if you can move that right leg out to the side, keeping that ball up in the air. After you've done that, in slow motion, I want you to think of keeping that posture, slowly bringing your leg back with start position. Bring the ball back around to the front. And let's do one more hallelujah before we put the ball down. Hallelujah. Okay, and down. Okay. I'm going to do some sit and stand exercise. So I know sitting and standing is easy for a lot of people, but for a lot of us as we get older, it becomes more challenging. So what I'd like you to do, and if you need support, if you need arm rests, hopefully you have them, or pushing on the seat of the chair. But here's the way you want to be moving your body. So you know the first thing to do. Line, breathe, center. And now you're going to tip your body forward And some people are afraid to do this because they think they're going to fall. But what happens is by tipping like this, your center of gravity, right, where the weight of your body is around here. And then it just drops right between your base of support, which is what balance requires. And you're just slowly going to try to come to standing. If it helps to press back on your knees, then do that. So the knees go back, the hips go forward. And in general, what I recommend for anybody when they come to standing is when you've gotten to your standing position, get your hands into your waistline, keeping your head forward, just press the hips forward. You do that a little arch in the back. I'm not going to explain why it's useful, but it is. So for sitting down, I want you to think of pressing, well, first of all, make sure that at least one of your legs is touching the chair. Also, if one leg was stronger than the other, that should have been the leg that was further back. So for sitting, you're going to be pressing the hips back. Okay, that's where I want you to be focused, is on the hips going back. And you'll notice that the trunk automatically starts dropping down. Okay. And I want you to lower yourself as slowly as you can. If it helps to have the image of an egg on the chair or something you don't want to break, use your imagination. So we're going to do this again. I'm switching legs just for the sake of balancing myself out. So I A to my A, B, C, lean forward, and as slowly as I can, come to standing, press the hips forward. So I've said before that our ability to sit and stand independently, which is what I'm doing now. I don't need to hold on, I've got control. The ability to do this is very directly connected to, I'm just going to sit for a moment, I just noticed my head's cut off there, is directly related to our ability to age well. It's part of keeping us functionally independent, which is something that we want, especially if we have a goal of aging in place, as they say. So let's do a little more sit and stand. I just realized you'll have to deal with not having my head. All right, so a good way to strengthen your sit and stand muscles is to start from a standing position. And you start pressing those hips back, start to go down, but you may find that at a certain point, the muscles aren't strong enough to hold you and you're inclined to fall. So you want to stop yourself before that happens and return to standing. If you do this throughout the day, like every time you even go to the bathroom, when you got to get up and down from the toilet, any chair that you're sitting in, hopefully you're not spending too much time on sofas or recliners, but any time you need to go from sitting to standing or standing to sitting, you want to turn it into an opportunity to strengthen. So you would stop along the way, see if you can control it, and eventually your goal is to be able to sit and stand safely and independently without holding on. Again, that's not going to be possible for everybody. You know, if you use a walker or an assistive device, then you can still do a variation on the exercise using the appropriate support. Okay, I'm going to go back down to feet and ankles. So one of the things that's really helpful for helping us manage our balance is having the strength and the flexibility and the conditioning of our feet and ankle muscles. So nice way to start, we're just going to do coming up on the toes and down. And I don't know if you can bring your toes up. You know what? I'm going to do a different exercise first. I just remembered. Let's do the hamstring stretch first. And I can include the ankle movements with that. So take your right leg. Well, first of all, what are you supposed to do first? A, B, C. Okay. Put that leg out as far as you can, comfortably and safely. And you don't need to look down at your toes, but I want you to point down, up, down. Push as hard as you can. Really try to lengthen that foot. Push the foot down as far as you can. If you get a cramp, do what you have to get rid of it. Let's flex the foot up, foot and ankle up. Now you should notice as you're pressing or flexing the foot up that there's a pull behind your knee and behind your calf. So at the same time that we're doing some flexibility for the foot and ankle, you're also stretching the knee and calf muscle. All right, so let's point down again and flex up again. Point down again. Flex up again. All right, we're going to do ankle circles now. So either direction, I'm starting in, and I want you to imagine having a paintbrush or something at the edge of your toe. So you are making the biggest, fullest, roundest circle that you can with this paintbrush. Now, I tend to have pretty good flexibility in my foot and ankle. Some of you may not go that far, but you're still getting conditioning. So we're going to go the other way, whichever way you went first. And what's important is that you are going slowly with focused movement and really concentrating on making that round, big circle. Okay, and trying to isolate the movement to the foot and ankle. Okay, so in that posture, slowly bring the leg back. Let's have that left leg go forward. Okay, let's lengthen, let's open. All right, chin tucked. Without looking down at the foot or ankle, we're going to point. And flex. And you'll notice I'm not going fast because it takes time for the muscles to either work, to start working and strengthening, and it takes time for them to stretch out like they are being asked to do now. So that's why we don't rush these movements. Point down. And it also gives you a chance to become more, and I'm going to use the term self-centered, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but becoming more focused on what you're doing, how your body is reacting, how you are feeling. Okay, do your ankle circles. I don't care which way you go first. The idea is that you're going in slow motion, big and as round circle as you can make. And when you've done about 4 to one side, I'm not real good at counting. You can just reverse, go the other way, keeping that posture, keeping that chest lifted, keeping that chest lifted. I'm watching, I can see some people. Let's get that chest lifted. Okay. And I think that's about it. Staying tall, slow motion, bring the leg back. All right, the next thing we're going to do for foot and ankle is with the, just about hip width apart, up on your toes, and slowly see if you can tip your feet so you're on the outside of one foot let's say the outside of your right foot, the inside of your left foot. You'll notice I'm just tipped over. I'm going to roll back up onto my toes. And I'm going to tip over to the other side. I'm not tipping over, the foot and ankle is tipping over. Just let it be there for a moment. Feel the stretching. Roll back up onto your toes. And we're going to go down onto the left sides of your feet again. And back up onto your toes. And last time over to the left sides of your feet. Center and down. And okay, I'm going to do some standing balance. So if you can safely, let's have you come to standing, slow motion. Don't forget that nice little stretch after you come to standing. All right. I don't care that you can't see my head right now. I'm really interested in you seeing my feet. So for balance, one of the very first things you want to do is become conscious of what happens when you shift your weight forward, center, and back. So we're going to do that together. Again, good postural alignment, breathing, ABC, and staying tall. Just let your weight shift towards your toes. You don't want to lose your balance, but you do want to go as far as you can. Just kind of test yourself. I mean, my toes are really gripping the ground right now. You just feel that. Back to your center. Get that posture again, really pushing up tall, chin tucked. All right, let your weight shift back towards your heel. It's not going to be a big move. I mean, unless you have really big feet, these are not big moves. Okay? Just feel your weight on the heels of your feet. Back to the center. Going to shift forward again. Now, this is something that you can do and should test yourself with eyes closed, but not when you're in a situation where you can't hold on. So I would teach people to do this in a doorway, possibly with a chair behind you, so that, if you get tired or something, you can sit in the chair. But with eyes closed, let's let you do this one more time. With eyes closed, what it does is it allows the body to develop more of a sense of where it is in space. Okay, I'm back on my heels now. Okay, now let's return. I'm going to return. Now we're going to do weight shift to the right and left. So ABC, chest is lifted, expanded, shoulders are down and back. And you're just going to stay tall and just shift, try to keep both feet on the floor, but shift your weight onto your right leg. Just stay there, see how far you can go and still keep your left leg down on the floor. Keep yourself pushing tall, because gravity is always going to want to pull you down. Gravity is always working, so you're always going to have to work against it. Okay, so you feel your weight on that left, your whole left side, the left hip. Let's return to the center. Take a breath in. Exhale. But slowly shift weight onto the left side. Staying tall, pushing yourself tall. Stay tall. Because again, the tendency is going to be to bend over forward or sideward. You want to be staying tall. And you should be feeling this. I'm feeling it down in the left hip area, the buttock area. And back to the center. Okay. people do some walking, and again, you may have trouble seeing me, maybe not. What I want you to think about with walking is, first of all, that walking is a heel-toe action. So as a lot of people get older, they tend to take shorter steps and walk with a flatter walk. They, for many reasons, stop using that nice heel-toe action. So nice and tall, heel, and I'm doing the slow motion, so you see heel. And what you want to be doing is developing an increasing sense of your weight on your feet, transferring from one to the other. The other thing to become aware of is taking longer steps, because the other thing that happens as many people get older is they take baby steps. Very often it's a fear of falling that becomes a factor. That's a whole other conversation. But for now, let me suggest that as much as possible, besides watching your posture as you walk, and besides doing heel-toe action, start thinking about making your steps longer. Even as an exercise, you may not go out in your everyday activities taking these extremely long steps, but as an exercise for helping you develop balance and better strength and conditioning, longer steps are going to be something for you to work on. The other thing to work on, wait, I want to mention something else. When you take a step, another nice image to have is that every time you step, you get taller. Okay, because you'll see some people walk and they step and they're kind of like flopping onto each side. If you can do it now safely, just try this, or when you're through with the class, ABC, and step tall. Step tall. You'll almost look like a dancer. People will think, oh, you must be taking dancing lessons. But no, it's step tall, and that'll again, that'll reinforce the nice posture and give you a more youthful walk, which I think we'd all like. The other thing to do as a standing walking exercise, since we're doing that now, with support if you need it, is just being able to sidestep. Okay? Sidestep. And you got a lot to concentrate on here, because I'm going to keep reminding you about your posture. You're going to keep tuning into that slow, prolonged breathing through your nose, and you're going to be doing things in slow motion. So we haven't done this before, but what it will also do is help with the whole balance routine. The slower you go, especially when we're doing standing and walking things, the more you have a chance to sense what your body is doing. Okay? Also, doing things in slow motion, God forbid, something happens, you're not rushing and you're less likely to have an accident. So we just did slow motion walking. Trying to think if, I know what we didn't do today, we can do. Well, this is actually advanced conditioning. So let me just see. Eventually, it would be wonderful for all of us to be able to take a long step, to stop, and to maybe do a little lunge and up and back. I don't know if anybody wants to hold on to a chair and try that. So ABC, take a long step, a lunge, a little bit of a lunge, back up, and step back. I don't know how that feels to everyone. Maybe you'll give me feedback because we haven't done this before. Big step forward, a lunge. Actually, yeah, I really need to keep that knee behind the foot and ankle. This is also a good way to stretch. You'll notice the back leg. I can actually stretch my ankle here, my heel cord. And return to standing. Let's do that again, stepping forward with your other leg, whichever one, the opposite of what you just did. Go into that lunge position and let's stretch the heel cord there. Okay, and back. All right. Turn around again. Something else we didn't do today. I'm going to have you come back in front of your chair. And just going into a squat position. So I'm going to give you profile. In order to do that, the hips go back. Hips go back. All right, and the back is straight. You'll notice that. I'm going to come back to here. And now, I just want you to imagine shifting your weight. So you want your legs more open, hip width apart. Yeah, a wide stance. And just shift, almost like you're dusting off a shelf with your rear end. Sorry, it's not polite. And just do some shifting. So here we are strengthening those sit and stand muscles. Again. All right, and step back so that you have at least one leg touching the chair. Before we sit down, I'm just going to have you do a little bit of a stretch, and we're going to sit. So we've only got a few minutes. I know we've got some new people on today, and I really am going to encourage you and ask you to be in communication. I'd like to know what works about this class, what benefits you may be getting from it, any questions you have, so that part of the class can be given over to some discussions of specific things that you'd like approach. There are so many issues that we tend to come up against, or physical and even mental issues, stress that we face as we age. So yesterday I was actually part of a program from an organization called My Health Angel. And they do a lot of, you might want to look them up. They do a lot of trainings, just like the senior center does. And I presented with a doctor, and we talked about some of the challenges that we all face as we get older. And it provided a really interesting conversation. We had an open mic so people could share more. I don't know if we'll be able to do that with this group. I'd love to, but you do have my contact information. So I hope to hear from you. I hope that you're going to think about making the alignment, breathing, centering, this ABC system, part of how you do everything during your day. It's a stress reducer, also can keep your body more fit, more functional, and hopefully help us all age a little better. Age a little better as we age. So I know they're going to turn the tape off soon. So I want to thank you for being with me today, and hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.